Alright, mythical beasts, picture this. A secret vault deep beneath LEGO headquarters in Billund, Denmark. These are the sets that got slapped with the big red band stamp sent to the island of misfit toys. We're peeling back the curtain on the toy industry's biggest fails, the plastic creations that flew a little too close to the sun and had their beautiful blocky wings melted. This is an exposé of epic proportions, a journey into the heart of toy chaos. We're about to dive headfirst into a world where happy little minifigures get caught in geopolitical scandals. Oh, you sweet summer child. Grab your favorite minifigure for emotional support, because we're about to unbox some serious drama. Let's do this. Welcome to the Vault of Banned Toys. Hands on the files, folks. It's story time. No, this vault is where the forgotten toys go. The outcasts, the rebels, these are the sets that got slapped with the big red band stamp. Let's start with a real fossil, a relic from a time before LEGO was the global empire it is today. The LEGO gun that never was. It all started with a wooden pistol. Alright, mythical beasts, picture this. A secret vault, deep beneath LEGO headquarters in Billund, Denmark. It's not filled with gold bricks or the blueprints for the next giant Millennium Falcon. No, this vault is where the forgotten toys go. The outcasts, the rebels. We're talking about the LEGO sets that were deemed too wild, too weird, or just too problematic for the world. These are the sets that got slapped with the big red band stamp, sent to the island of misfit toys and practically erased from history. We're peeling back the curtain on the toy industry's biggest fails. The plastic creations that flew a little too close to the sun and had their beautiful, blocky wings melted. This is an exposé of epic proportions, a journey into the heart of toy chaos. We're about to dive headfirst into a world where happy little minifigures get caught in geopolitical scandals. It's a place where a simple click of a brick could ignite a firestorm of controversy. You thought LEGO was all about wholesome family fun and stepping on bricks in the middle of the night? Oh, you sweet summer child. Let's start with a real fossil, a relic from a time before LEGO was the global empire it is today. We're going all the way back to the 1940s. The company was still finding its footing, mostly making wooden toys. But Ole Kirk Christensen, the founder, had a vision. He designed a wooden toy gun. It was a replica of a pistol, complete with a working trigger mechanism that could, make a clicking sound. The plan was to mass-produce it, to give the kids of post-war Europe a little something to play with. But then, Ole had a moment of clarity, a crisis of conscience. He looked at this toy gun, a symbol of conflict and violence, and thought, is this really what I want to put into the world? This was a heavy moment, folks. He decided that LEGO should be about creation, not destruction. He believed that toys should inspire peace, imagination, not mimic the tools of war. And so, in a move that would define the company's philosophy for decades, he pulled the plug. He banned his own toy. The wooden pistol was never mass-produced. The prototypes were locked away, becoming the first-ever banned LEGO product. It was a bold statement that set a precedent. LEGO was a brand of peace. For nearly 70 years, the company held a strict policy against creating realistic, modern-day weapons. Pirate's flintlock? Fine. Space blaster? Fine. Modern assault rifle? Absolutely not. That was the line in the sand. That original decision cast a long shadow that continues to influence which sets get the green light. Next up, a cultural controversy that nearly cost a whole toy line its name. Fast forward to 2001. LEGO dropped a theme that would become an absolute legend, Bionicle. These weren't your standard minifigures. They were complex, buildable action figures with a deep, sprawling lore. The story involved powerful Toa heroes, wise Turaga elders, mischievous Mataran villagers. But there was one tiny problem. LEGO got a little too inspired by a real-world culture. Many of the names, symbols, and story elements were directly lifted from the Maori people. They used words like Tohunga and lifted motifs that were sacred to the Maori. The Maori community was, to put it mildly, not thrilled. They saw it as cultural appropriation, sacred traditions and language commercialized in a kid's toy. Lawyers from the Maori community sent a cease and desist letter threatening a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. This was a PR nightmare. LEGO didn't double down. They flew representatives to New Zealand to meet with Maori leaders, not lawyers, but to listen and make things right. The resolution was a landmark agreement. LEGO agreed to stop using several contentious names. The Tohunga villagers were renamed the Mataran. Future Bionicle stories were steered away from Maori legends. The sets were never technically banned, but original versions with the offending names were phased out and are now considered collector's items. It became a major learning moment about cultural sensitivity, a close call that almost sent Bionicle to the banned bin. Collectors salivate over these early variants, tiny relics of one of LEGO's biggest cultural blunders. All right, let's jump to a galaxy far, far away, specifically to the desert planet of Tatooine. In 2012, LEGO released set 9516, Jabba's Palace. For fans, it was peak goodness, but it turned into a controversy. All right, let's jump to a galaxy far, far away, specifically to the desert planet of Tatooine. In 2012, LEGO released set 9516, Jabba's Palace. For Star Wars fans, this was a dream come true. You could build the slimy crime lord's den complete with a sliding throne trap, Han frozen in carbonite, Gamorrean guards, and a chained character. The set flew off shelves. Well, almost everyone was happy. A few months later, a storm erupted. A Turkish community group in Austria filed a formal complaint accusing LEGO of blatant racism and anti-Muslim sentiment. They claimed Jabba's palace looked like the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. They pointed to the watchtower as resembling a minaret. They argued the imagery and the villainous character represented negative stereotypes of Middle Eastern and Asian people. The complaint was serious, and it got picked up by news outlets worldwide. LEGO was blindsided. They released a statement. The set was based on the fictional building from Return of the Jedi. Any resemblance was coincidental. George Lucas and team drew on many architectural styles, pre-modern fantasy art, not intentionally modeled after a mosque. For most people that made sense, but pressure mounted. Despite LEGO's defense, the group threatened further action. Negative press was bad PR. In the end, LEGO made a business decision. They announced the set would be discontinued at the end of 2013 and not produced again. They never admitted fault or called it a ban, but effectively stepped back. The set was retired. One of the coolest Star Wars sets became a forbidden artifact. It was a wild situation where fantasy architecture and real-world sensitivities collided in the toy aisle. Now for a story that's fresh off the presses, a modern-day banning that shows LEGO is still navigating these tricky waters. In 2020, LEGO was all set to release a groundbreaking Technic set, the number 42113 Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey. This thing was an engineering marvel, a massive motorized model with spinning propellers and tilt-rotor motion. It could pivot from vertical takeoff to forward flight. Impressive, it was complex, it was cool, and Technic nerds were buzzing. The sets were produced, packaged, and even shipped out to retailers, ready for their August 1st launch. But just 10 days before release, a German peace organization launched a campaign against the set. The German Peace Society, United War Resistors, launched a campaign. Their argument? The V-22 Osprey is a real-world military vehicle used in active conflicts. By producing it as a toy, LEGO was violating its own policy against realistic modern military hardware. They argued it glorified war and was inappropriate for a company that champions peaceful, creative play. The campaign gained traction online. Suddenly, LEGO had a rebellion on its hands. They were being called out for breaking one of their foundational rules. They had invested money into development and production, but were being called out for breaking policy. The company was caught between profit and values. In a shocking move, LEGO chose to uphold values. Just days before shelves, they announced cancellation of the V-22 Osprey set. It was a massive last-minute recall. But since some had already shipped, a few slipped through the cracks. A handful were sold, turning the canceled chopper into one of the rarest modern LEGO sets. It sold for over $1,000 on secondary markets. It was costly for LEGO, but a major win for collectors who snagged one. Next, a detour into the uncanny valley. Galador. Let's take a weird detour into the uncanny valley of LEGO history. The year is 2002. LEGO decided to get experimental, really experimental. They launched Galador, Defenders of the Outer Dimension. This wasn't your typical brick-based system. Instead of building things, you swapped limbs. The main characters, Nick Bluetooth, Allegra. They had arms, legs, heads you popped on and off. The idea was Nick could glitch, absorb abilities by swapping parts. It was as weird as it sounds. The figures themselves were a choice. They weren't made of ABS studs, smoother, more doll-like, and kinda creepy. The company went all in, even co-producing a live-action TV show to support the toy line. It was a massive gamble, and it failed, spectacularly. Kids were confused, parents were weirded out, the TV show was cheesy and quickly forgotten. It's rumored to have cost the company a significant chunk of money in the early 2000s. While Galador wasn't banned for controversy, it was effectively banished from the LEGO universe due to sheer failure. Today, it's a running joke among fans, a cautionary tale when LEGO strays too far from its brick-built roots. The sets aren't particularly valuable. Nobody wants them. They represent a forbidden chapter when LEGO lost the plot. Time for a corporate relationship that turned into a PR nightmare. Sometimes a ban isn't about the toy itself, but the company it keeps. For over 50 years, LEGO and the oil giant Shell had a cozy partnership. Promotional polybags you could get when your parents filled up the car. For decades, the logos went hand in hand. It seemed harmless, two big companies doing promos. But in 2014, everything changed when Greenpeace set its sights on the relationship. Greenpeace launched a viral campaign, LEGO, Everything is Not Awesome. They made a heartbreaking video of a LEGO Arctic scene slowly submerged in oil. The message landed hard. By partnering with Shell, LEGO looked complicit in Arctic drilling and environmental destruction. The video racked up millions of views in days. LEGO suddenly found itself in an impossible position. Protests were held at LEGO stores. A petition gathered over 1 million signatures. Kids even wrote letters asking LEGO to break up with Shell. The company that inspired builders of tomorrow was now accused of helping destroy that tomorrow. After 3 months of intense pressure, LEGO cracked. In October 2014, the CEO announced they would not renew the long-term contract with Shell once it expired. The partnership didn't end immediately, but the message was clear. The relationship was over. Greenpeace had effectively banned any future collaboration, forcing LEGO to choose values over a 50-year relationship. Not all banned sets are grand. Sometimes tiny pieces cause big trouble. Not all banned sets are grand, controversial statements. Sometimes a toy gets pulled because it's just plain dangerous. Back in 2002, LEGO partnered with McDonald's to release small Bionicle promo toys. One had a disc launcher, Pahatu, with a little throwing disc. Reports came in that the launcher could fire the disc with enough force that if a child looked down the barrel, it could be shot into their throat. McDonald's and LEGO issued a voluntary recall of over 28 million Bionicle toys. A massive recall, born from a tiny piece of plastic. In 1980, a LEGO lorry was recalled because red wheel hubs could detach. Duplo baby rattles were recalled when parts could break off. These recalls highlight the constant challenge, balancing fun with the absolute necessity of child safety. Even LEGO can miss something. When a toy is found unsafe, it's pulled and scrubbed from the official record. For collectors, sealed recalled items can become sought-after artifacts. They are rare artifacts from a moment when a toy failed its most important job, to be safe for playtime. It's a reminder that behind every fun design is a team working to make sure it won't cause a trip to the ER. So, what happens to these forbidden bricks? They become legends. Let's count down the top 3 most valuable banned sets. So what happens to these forbidden bricks? They become legends. For collectors, a banned or canceled set is the ultimate holy grail. Its rarity and juicy backstory make it irresistible. The value skyrockets, turning a simple box of plastic into a small fortune. So let's count down the top 3. At number 3, the 9,516 Jabba's Palace. After being discontinued due to the mosque controversy, its value shot up. A sealed box that retailed for $120 can now fetch $400, $600. Collectors love it not just for the set, but the scandalous history. Number 2, the original Bionicle Tohunga figures. Before renaming to Mataran, a very small number with Tohunga branding were released. They were pulled quickly. The few that exist are collector gold. While they might not reach thousands, their rarity makes them priceless artifacts. And now, the #1 most valuable band set, the 42113 Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey. Cancelled days before release, only a handful made it into the wild. It retailed for $140, but sold for over $1,000 on the secondary market, often trading between $800 and $1,200 sealed. Owning one is owning a piece of modern toy-making history. Tech brilliance killed by policy. These band sets are more than toys. They're stories. They're the rebels, the outlaws, and the mistakes of the LEGO world. And for collectors, that's where the real treasure is found. Thanks for watching, and be mythical. Brick by Brick Explained.